Well, hello again, guys. This is David, and today I bring you some breaking research from Germany. It's actually just breaking for me because I just read it online, but I'm going to give it to you because I thought that this was super interesting. So it looks like some German psychologists got together and they wanted to get an answer to why twins who are genetically identical turn out different. They have different lives, and they might even be raised in the same household, same exact genes, so it's the same genes, same environment, and they still come out radically different. You'll have two twins, one will become very successful, the other one will end up in prison. So they want to know what accounts for this difference in people, what makes it so people have different life experiences. And this points to the idea of neurogenesis, basically that we're different because our brains evolve differently according to how we use them as we're growing up. So even though someone might have the same genetics as somebody else, they can change what their genetics predict for them in the way that they interact with their surroundings, in the way they interact with their life. So the way they set up the experiment to test this idea is they got, I think it was about 20 mice, and they built this beautiful cage. It was like mouse paradise. It had flower pots and little wheels for them to run on, and tunnels and places for them to dig, and places for them to hide, and all kinds of different foods. A very stimulating environment for these 20 mice. And so they let them loose in this cage, or this enclosure, whatever it was, for a period of 3 months. And each mouse had a little tracker on it, so they were able to see on the computer which mice explored and were very active in the cage, and which mice just picked a corner of the cage and kind of just sat there for most of the time. Some mice didn't even explore the whole thing, they just kind of stayed in one little spot for the whole 3 months. And some mice were just all over the place, having a great time, swinging on the little chandeliers and doing the happy mouse thing. So at the end of the 3 months, they took all these mice and they looked at their brains. And lo and behold, the mice that had grown the most, or had grown the most brain cells, were the ones that the computer showed had explored the most. They were the mice who had been the most adventuresome, the mice that had taken the most risks. So these mice were the ones that had the most brain growth. And what's interesting is that they had brain growth in the area of their brains that has to do with learning and memory. So we have to ask ourselves the question, which part of our brains is most important for our success? Isn't it the part of our brain that learns? That's the part of our brain that lets us adapt to new experiences, to learn new skills, to become better people. And isn't it cool to know from this experiment that this part of our brain is under our control? It all has to do with how we choose to interact with our life. Do we want to just see our environment? We're born with our genetics. We want to just curl up in an area of the world, in our own little house, our own little hole, and just sit there and wait for death? Or do we want to get out there and experience the world and move around and test ourselves and try new things and see what we're really capable of? When we approach life this way and we act this way with adventure and with courage, then life rewards us with brain growth, with neurogenesis. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight. I think that it's a beautiful concept and it's great encouragement for us to get out of our shells and get out there and live life like we're supposed to be living it. As they say, to grab life by the horns, to get out there and find out what's for us, Because we can just sit and wait for life to happen to us, or we can happen to life. And I'll leave you with that thought. We can wait for life to happen to us, or we can happen to life. Thanks a lot for listening tonight, and you guys have a good one. I'll talk to you again tomorrow.